everyone, and welcome to the first ever Candidate Experience CXP Awards. My name is Simon Werner Sankel and I will be your proud host today. In the audience we have 10 plus countries represented, we have 2 speakers and we have a bunch of nominated organizations in 2 categories, Best Interview and Best Candidate Experience. For our 2 speakers today, we have Sara Dalsfelt, who will be speaking about diversity and inclusion, and Steve Usher, who will be speaking about candidate experience in 2020 and 2021 and the future. This last year for HR organizations and candidates has been the greatest test ever. For all of you working in recruiting, in HR organizations and with employer brand, I applaud you for the great and hard work you've done the last year. This has been a huge test for all of us. And to all the candidates out there, I really want to say, keep up the good work. After the 2 speakers, we will be revealing the winners in both categories, the Best Interview and Best Candidate Experience. Let's go over the nomination. Nominated organizations for Best Interview. A round of applause for the nominees: Aspia, Dustin, Funnel, Get Your Guide, Invisi, ProDM, Ryska Posten, Student Work and Wise Professionals. Also a big digital round of applause for Best Candidate Experience nominees: Gasum, Invisi, Linköping, LähiTapiola, Remarkable, Scania, Uppsala, and again, Wise Professionals. Those were the nominated organizations. But what's behind the nominations? Behind the nomination is the systematical and automatical sending out of feedback surveys in 2 steps of the recruitment process. After an interview has been conducted and after the full process. And the ratings has been based on the quality metric, which is a research-based metric called Candidate Net Promoter Score. Let's head over to the first speaker today, which is Sara Dalsfelt. She will be speaking about diversity and inclusion, and I'm looking forward to hear a bit more about whose responsibility actually is diversity and inclusion. Why is it important to train your brain? And how much more successful are diverse organizations? A big round of applause for Sara Dalsfelt.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah and I'm a part of Adway, and we do automated recruitment marketing in various channels and social media to enable a 24/7 storytelling to attract and convert the best candidates for our customers. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today, and what's there to chat about? Let's get started. Diversity and inclusion is not TA's responsibility. I'll repeat that. Diversity and inclusion is not TA's responsibility, but it helps if we can help the organization lay out the groundwork. So, what's the business case for D&I strategy? Well, the most diverse Fortune 500 companies perform at a 25% higher net score, and I don't really think I need to say more than that. Today, I'm going to share with you how you in TA and recruitment can take the lead and help build the strategy in the attraction phase in talent acquisition. If you would like to have a more diverse and minimize your bias in recruitment, there are steps to take, and I'm here to guide you through them. Train your brain. Confirmation bias describes how we reflexively make choices that strengthen the perception we already have. If the image we have of a programmer is that he is a man, then the probability is high that the next programmer also will be a man. This is difficult to crack on your own. You also need to get your hiring managers on board. So, my first advice is to organize a workshop and get the whole recruitment chain to train their brains to get out of their bias. Use a requirement profile for everyone. Women apply if they are 100% sure, and men apply if they meet 60% of the requirements. If specific certifications or niche knowledge are needed, mark them as requirements. For personal qualities and experience, use desirable instead. There are different paths to success. Let the numbers speak. Measure and prove that you live as you learn. Set measurable goals linked to D&I and follow up. If you don't reach all the way, you just need to continue and analyze and adjust. A recurring problem I often hear is that we want to attract and recruit diverse teams, but how do we start? Over 4 billion people are on social media today. The average time a person spends there is over 2 hours and 30 minutes a day. If someone signed up at 16 and lived to their 70s, it would mean they will spend over 6 years on social media alone. Since the majority of us now realize that this is where our candidates spend almost all their time, modern recruiters and modern employers now focus their recruitment marketing to social media. But there are tricks to learn to include D&I in your strategy. Almost a year ago, Facebook came up with new guidelines for advertising. This because companies often unknowingly would fall into the trap of a biased strategy when they advertised. This change meant that now when you're using social media in your recruitment, you can't apply a discriminatory job advertising strategy. A discriminatory job advertising strategy is when you target against age, ethnicity, and gender. So how can we avoid this in our targeting strategy when we do recruitment marketing? Well, my best advice is to apply various forms of targeting, such as behavioral targeting. This way, you can target those candidates who already shown interest in you, visited your job applications and employer branding, and already knows about you as an employer. Greater diversity will give you a greater end result, and now you will also follow the rules of an unbiased advertising strategy. It's time we move from cultural fit to cultural ad. Be better, be braver. You don't want to spin up another robot, right? You should aim for people and your employees to bring their whole selves to work. Inclusion is not just a start phase in the recruitment stadium, it's about keeping all those diverse teams when they are employed by you. You need to include your DNA strategy in your everyday work, and this should be a joint OKR for the management team as well. That's why I stated in the first sentence that D&I is not TA's responsibility, but in this case, where we can apply behavioral targeting in the recruitment and attraction phase, we lay a great groundwork for this to work internally. There's a cosmic consciousness occurring, and what may and may not have worked in the past is not good enough today. You need to empower everyone to bring their whole selves to work. And fear, in this case, might stand in the way. And here's my biggest recommendation. You need to acknowledge that this is a problem and this is something to act on. And my biggest recommendation is start to, contact these kind of minority groups, get involved, workshop around it, get to know, get your facts straight. Don't be shy doing something wrong or, offending anyone, because being paralyzed of fear in this case is the biggest issue, because that won't lead to any change at all. If you feel like you could be or your organization could be paralyzed and don't know how to move, starting with D&I, here are some recommendations. Investigate in your culture. See how it differs from what you say it is. Empower the organization with language. Get people who are passionate about D&I to come in and journey manage you with definitions, know how to collectively define each issue, so you now can know how to best tackle this. Remove the stigma from bias. This doesn't mean throwing the bias away. It means asking where does bias disadvantage both you and the person you applying it to, especially in recruitment. And change how your company innovates. How will it help you get diverse candidates, and how can it help them stay? My biggest takeaway from this session today is to acknowledge the fear that could be occurring. Let your intention be your inner guiding voice and start acting. The biggest issue here would be not to act, so I encourage you all to analyze where your organization is at, and if you have questions or are curious on how to attract candidates in a more unbiased way, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Sara Dalsfelt. You can just look me up and I will for sure help you get started. Thank you for watching and enjoy your day.
Wow, thank you, Sara, for that great talk about diversity and inclusion. My three takeaways are: diversity and inclusion is not TA's responsibility. It's a groundwork done in the whole organization. Train your brain. It's important to not think about if you need to hire a developer, don't think about it as a man, for example. And the third part is about how you can also work in your job ad strategy with diversity and inclusion. Thanks a lot, Sara, for a great speech. Next speaker is Steve Usher, an experienced designer at 5 Studios. I first met Steve 4 years ago, and I can tell it was love at first sight. I'm really looking forward to this speech from Steve, and he will be talking about candidate experience in 2020 and candidate experience in 2021 and the future. A round of applause for Steve Usher.
Well, hello everybody. My name's Steve Usher. I'm the founder of 5 Studio and also the Experience Designers podcast. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to Simon and the team at Trust Group for offering me an opportunity to share the stage and talk about a big passion, which is around candidate experience. And of course, to be invited along to this an awards ceremony for this topic. So, you know, for those companies and teams and people that have been delivering really great candidate experiences, I applaud all of you, and those efforts are really meaningful right now, particularly in this really tough climate that we're all facing, particularly people who are in the job market and actively trying to secure roles. So just good luck to all the nominations and congratulations to all the winners. So look, today I just want to talk a little bit about kind of what's been going on in the past, a little bit what learnings can we take, and then also let's look a little bit also forward around what we can be doing in the future around the topic of candidate experience. So the first thing is 2020. I mean, for me, the biggest stress test ever on employer brands. You know, we've seen organizations really struggle in some quarters. We've seen others doing things in an amazing way. But I don't think I can remember, I mean, I still remember the financial crisis in 2009-10. And, you know, I genuinely think this one is much deeper. And for some reason, on a candidate level, is so much more emotional than I've certainly ever experienced it before. And this is really the big difference for me, is around not so much what companies are doing, but more about how they're going about it. And also just to think about this from an experience point of view, the experience is the how. You know, you can have two same coffee shops serving the same coffee with the same, you know, same environment, but actually it's about the humans and the people behind the counter and how they serve to you is the real differentiator around delivering an experience. And at an organizational level, what we've seen is some really bad PR and quite damaging in many respects around, you know, a UK estate agency accused of inhumane sacking of staff, for an example. Dyson with some unwelcomed headlines, you know, such a really powerful brand where you've got staff revolt against an order to return to work. And that's the real difference between what they're doing and how they're doing it. And then we have the most amazing lesson that I've seen in 2020. So if you haven't seen this already, I highly recommend you to Google it. Google it after this session, not now. And it's from the CEO and owner of Airbnb. And basically he had to cut 25% of his staff, which for him was, you know, an absolute, you know, pull on the heartstrings. And so he crafted probably one of the most amazing communications to his people as to how and why he was doing this and the support he actually delivers. So it was this kind of tough decision, but with humility and empathy. Real lesson. So how has this kind of played out in the talent market? Well, of course, we've gone from this kind of candidate-led market, unicorns, pinks, purple squirrels, whatever one you call them, they're still out there, believe me. But we've moved into this now very much super quick into a job-led market. And some of the countries like France, for an example, UK, US, we're definitely seeing some absolutely, some talent acquisition functions getting really overrun by applications for one job, 500 or 1,000 applications. I mean, how do you even deal with that? And so this is another example is from a candidate side point of view. This is from a candidate called Alex Sadler, who thankfully secured a role with CRE, based in London, in their London office. But he applied, this is like a visual representation he shared of his journey, and he shared it on LinkedIn last week. So I thought I'd just absolutely use this, where he actually applied for 482 jobs. I mean, that's just incredible to secure one role. So not to overanalyze this, but just to kind of make the point that how much harder people are having to work to find and also secure work. And just think about the level of emotion that Alex has gone through during this period. And of course, how is this playing out? Well, Reddit, for an example, next time you grab a fika and please spend some time on this page. It's quite funny in some areas, but there's also some really serious challenges going on and some horrendous practices going on that's really starting to play out, and people are now sharing their recruiting hell out there in the market. And also, of course, Glassdoor, an important kind of channel for part of the consideration phase. You can point Google at Glassdoor, and we did this for this example, where now we're searching the interview pages of all companies on Glassdoor and asking for the words, the Boolean search of never heard back and poor experience. And there are tens of thousands of examples on these. And these ones, as you can see by the dates in the poor experience, are very, very recent. So look, let me share some tips about moving forward. Let's get ahead and get ahead on this. And what can we do to really use this situation to really stand out from the crowd, but also to really start pushing this whole candidate experience thing forward onto new levels. So the first thing I want to kind of share with you is like, get intentional about this. So what I mean by get intentional is right now in your business, as you're sitting here listening to this webinar right now, or this recording, there are hundreds or maybe thousands of experiences unraveling in your hiring process across all of your organization. That's with hiring managers and recruiters and also candidates. Some of them are serving you really, really well, and others are serving you really badly, or maybe even really having a really bad effect on the employer brand. And recruitment's an interesting one, because when we think about recruitment process, it's linear. It's a step-by-step process, which it is. It's a left to right kind of process that everybody has to go through. But what if you looked at it from an experience lens? So I invite you to lift this lens up now into your hiring journey. And what experiences are you seeing? What do you think you would see? And actually, are they serving you well? What if you were looking through the lens as an engineer candidate, or a full stack developer candidate, or one of your sales team candidates? What are the different experiences that they're all kind of experiencing along the journey? So really, for me, it's about what's default versus designed. So absolutely kind of separate those out and really get intentional around the ones that you want to design. And then also thinking journeys. So this is an area which is, again, just a mindset shift, is around start kind of thinking a little bit more from a journey point of view. So when we look at the employee experience, like the holistic employee journey, there's kind of hiring and pre-boarding into onboarding, then there's kind of in-life EX, exit, and alumni. And so today I just want to focus a little bit on kind of hiring experience. So from a macro experience level, hiring experience, there is then underneath, there's all these little micro journeys that are constantly taking place. So all of these little experience journeys. So start to identify and just hone in on one or two of these and start to experiment and really kind of focus on, okay, how can we really elevate this and design this as an experience? And also, this is some of the kind of an example of, obviously journey mapping, but start to identify. So this is an example, say, of a persona, which is an account manager of a journey, and all the highs and lows, positive and negative factors, how easy it is, how it makes them feel. And then this could be, for an example, an e-commerce manager having a completely different experience of that journey. So just wanted to kind of, just really for today, just highlight a mindset wise, think about it from a journey point of view. And another area is around everyone has experiences. So when I say everyone, I mean everyone has an experience. And so we ran an experiment in here in Sweden actually, but it was across Europe back in December. And what we actually did is we took two groups together. So we brought a candidate group who are actually actively in the marketplace and in-house recruiter group in the afternoon. And what we did is we took them through a journey, a hiring journey, step by step, but actually the same journey, but through two different lenses. So the candidate journey and then the in-house recruiter journey with these three key phases along the hiring process. And we have found a lot of insights, but one of the biggest things which absolutely shone for me, for the team, and also during the kind of the reflection piece that we did after the event, centered around the hiring manager and recruiter experience, and in particular, the impact this has on the candidate experience. And we found that we could really connect the dots that, you know, poor crafting of things like job adverts, or, you know, not getting any feedback, it started to correlate into the recruiters not having enough control or relationship level with the hiring managers. And this was something that was it was just such a standout piece. It's a hygiene factor one for sure, but for me, it's one of the low-hanging fruits to really accelerating the candidate experience and really making some massive improvements in the business. There is also a caveat in this as well. Smaller companies tended to perform better. Medium to larger companies, of course, with the hiring manager population getting bigger, it became more challenging. So this, for me, comes onto two levels. It's either the skill level of the recruiters and give them the confidence to engage hiring managers, and there is an element of that happening, but also the TA function itself is how that's perceived internally as a function. So is it perceived as a strategic partner or more of a shared service reactive environment? And I just wanted to finally just back this up with a bit more research from Bursin Deloitte, who did a piece about 4 years ago. And they found that out of 16 TA performance drivers, recruiter relationships with hiring managers ranked #1. And secondly, it was 4 times more influential than other talent acquisition performance drivers. And finally, 97% of mature TA functions report strong relationships. So really definitely something to share with you, just to kind of one of those little hygiene factor pieces to really make sure that that closeness between TA and hiring managers is really, really strong. So look, some closing thoughts for you. Look, compete for talent and brand, EVP and experiences. So think about your employer brand, your EVP, and then design experiences that really start to pop out and make a difference. Because right now there's a lot of ordinary going on. The second piece is around get intentional and start designing. Just start with one, A/B test it, see how it goes. And the second one is, as I just said, start with one journey. Maybe start with your developer group, or start with like a tough to find like engineer group, for an example, and then start to test and measure it. If you're already using Trust Group, for an example, you'll be able to see some of your candidate scores, inject some experiences into that journey, start to correlate and compare how those experience scores start to change. And also create a reputation in a sea of ordinary. I promise you right now, 95% of recruitment processes are ordinary. This is the greatest opportunity to use experiences to stand out in a highly competitive talent market. So finally, thank you so much for your time and listening. And again, I wish everybody the best of luck, and also congratulations to the winners. And I hope you enjoyed this content. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve, for a look into what candidate experience has been in 2020. Love the example of Airbnb. Love how they really play that one. Thanks also for the 2021 and the look into the future. It's always great having you, Steve, and thank you so much. It's time to reveal the winners of the first ever CXP Awards in Candidate Experience for Best Interview and Best Candidate Experience. In these balloons, I have the winners. But before I pop these balloons, I have seen that we have gotten a lot of questions how one can join next year's CXP Awards competition. If you want to join, it's free to join in one of the categories, Best Interview, Best Candidate Experience. If you want to join, connect with me, Simon Werner Sankel, on LinkedIn, and I'll help you get started. In a couple of weeks, we will launch the CXP Awards website, where you can read interviews with the winners and also sign up to join the competition. It's time to reveal the winners of Best Interview and Best Candidate Experience. But before that, third and second place. Third place in the category Best Interview. A big round of applause to Ryska Posten. For second place in the category Best Interview, a huge round of applause to Student Work. Congratulations, Student Work, for the second place, and it's time to reveal the winner of the first ever CXP Awards for Best Interview. The winner of the first ever CXP Awards for Best Interview. Many congratulations, Invisi! Many congratulations to Invisi. I know there is hard work behind this, and many congratulations to the team. Let's move on to the Best Candidate Experience. Third place in the category Best Candidate Experience. Congratulations to Linköping Municipality. And second place in the category Best Candidate Experience. I know there is hard work behind this. Congratulations to Scania. And for the winner of the first ever CXP Awards in the category Best Candidate Experience. Winner in the category Best Candidate Experience. A big round of applause to Lehi Tapiola! Congratulations, Lehi Tapiola, winner of Best Candidate Experience in the first ever CXP Awards. Thank you everyone for watching this first ever CXP Awards in Candidate Experience. It's been a blast to be the host of this, a dream come true for me. And in a couple of weeks we'll be launching the CXP Awards website. Stay tuned, and we'll also send you the information on how you can join the competition and everything. Stay focused out there, all the HR departments. Bye, love you!